Hello everybody, welcome back. So we're going to have a look at 1 inch on this video, and I'll give you what I expect to take place for 1 inch, and I've got to say it's pretty good actually. It's very good actually. So first of all, we're just going to have a quick look at the market overall. Bitcoin pushing up now, going pretty bullish. I'd expect this to have a continuation up into the $60,000 area. I don't mean that that's going to happen today, guys. I just mean that it's likely to happen. We have a look at Bitcoin dominance. We're still dancing around this level, so Bitcoin and altcoins are still, you know, having that last little scrap before, in my opinion, altcoins really do push up much harder and much faster. Doesn't mean it's going to happen today, but I expect it will happen. And what leads me to believe that that is the most likely scenario is that we're looking at here. This is the Ethereum to Bitcoin on the weekly. As you can see, for the last 14 months, it's been in a consistent uptrend where we go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Again, this is a weekly chart, and this is a pretty bullish chart. We look like we're looking to make another one of these over the next 3 to 5 weeks. It could take longer than that, and we don't know how significant the move will be. But given the last 14 months worth of price action versus Bitcoin, it's always made a higher high. So obviously this is looking good. The cloud is green. We also have a conversion baseline cross here on the Ichimoku cloud. So all of that is pretty good for Ethereum on the weekly versus Bitcoin. And what's good for Ethereum is going to transfer into altcoins by default, because that will bring this Bitcoin dominance chart down, and by default all altcoins will start to feel some decent money, especially when Bitcoin makes a new all-time high and then settles down. We would likely to see, I would expect to see a further rotation. So Bitcoin can go up, everything can go up at this stage. It's all looking pretty good. And so just a quick look at the dollar index. I see that there has been a rejection a little earlier than I thought it would be. I thought we might even reach up to this level here at 92.75, but in fact we got rejected at 92.50, so not too bad. So I'd expect everything to be receiving a pump by default because of this, and that stimulus check about to find its way into our pockets, even though I'm not American. By default, there's a lot of that money is going to be coming out, flooding into these markets, and just out of pure participation, I should receive some of that stimulus. Right, let's have a look at 1 inch. So 1 inch had an enormous start to its life on Binance, didn't it? All the way from the bottom to the top, 3,330% increase, and since then it's only fair for it to have a retracement of 52%, so it's not actually that bad. If you look at the state of some of these altcoins anyway, in general, 50% retracement recently has actually been quite a common occurrence. The thing about this though is that this is a very young chart, and I often don't trade young charts, but with a chart like this, I like the way that this is forming anyway. So there's nothing particularly, as far as signals are concerned, there's a few things, but it's not the usual sort of style that I would go in for. I think that this is an undervalued token. I'd like everybody to put their mind back to what happened with Uni token, right? Uniswap token came on, Binance pump, dump, a massive dump, I should say, horrendous. But that's different because it was handed out willy-nilly and then sold off like crazy. It hit a relatively low zone, which, just for the record, I did say when it was down in the $1.70 zone. I said, look, I think this is about it. This is about as far as it's going to go. And now look at it. I mean, I haven't looked at it recently, but it's 20x at least, but probably more than that from where I said that it's bottomed. I'm not saying that this is bottomed yet, but I think there's a very good chance we're going to have a decent run of this and find a new all-time high relatively soon. The reason I say that is we've got this trend line here, also more or less parallel with the Bollinger Band Center on the daily, which we've broken out of and retested today. So not just the trend line, just by default the trend line, but also the center of the Bollinger Band has been tested from today. So this is going to start to gain momentum over the next over this week into next week, I would say. It's going to follow the market to start with until it gains a decent track of higher highs, higher lows, the standard kind of procedures, and then these moving averages start to cross over from each other. At the moment we've got sort of the lower term time frames. All moving averages at the moment are below the center of the Bollinger Band, so it's not formed an uptrend as far as the daily is concerned. Let's have a look at the 4 hourly. So we've kind of reached a peak for today. I'd be surprised to see if we went too much higher than this. So obviously it could go higher, but I would be surprised to see if it could. And again, when it comes to this chart on the 4 hourly, the moving averages are in position now, kind of, but they're not perfect. So we've still got the 200 there. We've got the 50 in the center of the Bollinger Band all the way down there. So it's not perfect. Plus we've just moved above this cloud. But when it comes to the oscillators, they're all looking good. 4-hourly is looking good there, and we're about to get that positive cross over this next week. If we remain crossed and start to diverge, we'll cross the 0 point, and we should start to pick up momentum again. Now, my expectations of this are going to be similar to that of Uniswap, but not the same. So it's fundamentally it's the same. Its initial, I suppose, pump is kind of the same, but its overall target, you can't really look at things like that. What we can look at though is basically to try and view this on an incremental step up by step up. So the first step up is going to be, we can see a clear area of support and resistance around here, which is also more or less $5. So psychological figure $5, that makes a lot of sense, and also the top of the Bollinger Band there. So we've got that there. Like we say, we've got rejections and supports and rejections and supports. Plus we've got our upper area of the Bollinger Band on the daily around at about $5. So I'd expect to see a rejection around about $5. And even when we get that rejection, it could be a significant pullback. I still think that's okay, because it would allow for the majority of these, well, all of these moving averages to start to face up again, and that's what we want to get a sustainable uptrend. Like I said, we're basing a lot of this alt theory on the back of Ethereum to Bitcoin's chart, which looks like it wants to start a rally, which would end, anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks at least, and maybe even continued move after that. So bearing that in mind, and the way that it would correspond to the Bitcoin dominance chart, I don't mind waiting on this one, and obviously I bought a lot of this around about these zones. I don't mind waiting on this one and watching it pump and dump, because my target overall is going to be a lot higher than these zones here. I think areas like $10 to $12 at the end of this 3 to 5 week period is relatively realistic, although it does sound a bit moon boyish. I do appreciate that. And again, I like to look at things in incremental steps. And at the moment, we've not really had an actual step. Excuse me, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 retests of the green 50 exponential on the daily. That's enough, and now we're launching. So overall, this one looks like it's beginning an uptrend. I know people think when they hear me say that, they go, "It's already in an uptrend. It's going up." It's not an actual uptrend. An uptrend for me is a retest of support and resistance, making higher highs, higher lows, in consistence with the way that the moving averages begin to diverge. At the moment, we've really not got any divergences taking place on those moving averages, so I can't really use them realistically as a strength of trend indicator. But what I can say is that we do seem to have broken out of this descending resistance trend line, also the center of the Bollinger Band, so it looks like the start of an uptrend could be beginning, but it's not yet been confirmed. Has it been confirmed? No, I wouldn't really say it's confirmed, but it's looking pretty rosy, I have to say. So that's all I have to say on 1 inch, and the overall market looks pretty good to me. If the dollar keeps going down like it is, and the stimulus starts pouring through, and Ethereum keeps rallying against Bitcoin, Bitcoin can continue to go up as well. It's all going to be good. Everything's going to be good. As far as I can see, everything's going to be good. But be prepared for dumps. Of course there's going to be dumps. In my opinion, we're in the last final stages of this this last level of bullish momentum. Wouldn't surprise me if we do see an actual big correction when this one completes. And the completion of this zone to me would, I know this is going to sound crazy, but the upper 60,000s minimum for Bitcoin, potentially even up to 80,000 perhaps, then I would be looking to limit as much risk as possible, selling off a lot of my things, and playing things I suppose on a much shorter term time frames, rather than buying these things and expecting it to work out okay, because it's in conjunction with a lot of of different charts that I would use together as one single indicator for the health of the market, especially for altcoins. When we start to reach that toppy peak, I'd say for Bitcoin, I would look to limit a lot of my exposure and enter the market, maybe later, maybe have a little bit of time off perhaps. I don't know, we're not there yet, and we'll have to see what happens when we do get there. But for the moment, everything does appear to be quite good, and I would expect the next 3 to 5 weeks generally to be a consistent uptrend, with obviously some significant pullbacks, but generally consistent uptrend. And I think that the altcoins are really going to benefit the most. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. There's a live stream tonight for Patreon users, like there is every Tuesday and Friday. Sometimes the days alternate. But if you did want to join the Patreon, £7.50 a month, you get 16 hours worth a week of live stream action where you can ask me questions within that 2-hour time frame. I usually get around to answering everybody's questions, but there are obviously occasions where I can't. But generally speaking, whether I answer your question or not, you're still available to. You still get the ability to look at 2 hours worth of charts of coins that you may not look at before, and we'll all look at them together, and we'll work out, whether it's a good or bad setup, and blah 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 blah. Like I say, 2 hours a week, 4 hours a week, 16 hours a month, £7.50 a month. That's a bargain in my opinion. Anyway, thank you for watching. Hope you have a nice day, and take it easy.